Welcome to the Rebel Health Coach Podcast with Tom Underwood. Armed with truth and knowledge, your journey to a healthy lifestyle can be obtained. Preventative wellness, quality nourishment, and daily fitness routines dramatically improve your outlook on life as a whole. And you'll find the support and info you need to accomplish a healthier lifestyle here. Together, we can empower each other along our journey to an amazing you.
Welcome to the Rebel Health Coach Podcast. Today's guest is me. Tom, welcome to the show. Yes, it's another solo episode of me stepping outside my comfort zone. I'd like to start today's show and wish you a happy Memorial Day. Today is a day of remembrance for those who have died in service of our country. And being a U.S. Navy veteran, I take a lot of pride in our services. Let's take a minute to remember those men and women who gave their lives for our country. This weekend is also the traditional kickoff of summer. Beach, pools, outdoor events, and exposure to our very good friend, the sunshine vitamin D. So I thought I would cover sunscreens, including a recipe for homemade version, along with some outstanding brands to purchase if you don't want to spend the time making your own. The problem with sunscreen. Many sunscreens contain toxic ingredients or endocrine-disrupting chemicals that in many cases can actually promote skin cancer growth and free radical production in the body. In fact, in the years since sunscreen use began, skin cancer rates have actually increased. A 2007 document from the FDA stated, "The FDA is not aware of data demonstrating that sunscreen use alone helps prevent skin cancer. In fact, many reports show that most sunscreens actually raise skin cancer risks. Even natural, commercially available sunscreens often have toxic ingredients." The EWG Environmental Working Group, you can find them online, and I'll put a link for that in the show notes, puts out a lot of good info, and they also have a list of sunscreens. You can check out your favorite brands and see if they are actually good brands or not. Many sunscreens also contain oxybenzone, a known hormone disruptor that is not recommended for use on children. Think about this. Vitamin D is necessary for correct hormone formation. Sunscreen ingredients like oxybenzone are endocrine disruptors that inhibit correct hormone formation. So, are you starting to see the reason some sunscreens may do more harm than good? Okay, moving on. Let's talk about the vitamin D factor. Considering many people these days are actually vitamin D deficient, lack of sun exposure to be a much bigger problem than too much sun exposure. If you live in North America, chances are you are low in vitamin D. To get enough vitamin D from the sun to support our body's needs, we would have to hang outside daily, naked, every day of the year. And I don't think the neighbors would appreciate that either. So, vitamin D is one of the top 3 supplements everyone should be taking. Vitamin D deficiency has been linked to many types of cancers, including the most deadly types of breast cancer. Lack of vitamin D also has been linked to many other issues in the body, like impaired immune system function, which puts you at a higher risk for infection, rickets, a condition that most commonly occurs in children that causes bone softening, insulin resistance, which affects your ability to use insulin to process blood sugar, thin or brittle bones, which increases your risk of osteoporosis. As a society, we literally cut off our nose to spite our face when it comes to sun exposure. To avoid skin cancer, we've shunned the sun and the vitamin D our bodies produce when exposed to the sun. On top of that, sun exposure itself is not the only factor linked to skin cancer. Many other factors, such as omega-6 vegetable oil consumption, can have a big impact on skin health. And omega-6 vitamins are something we really don't need to take because we ingest more omega-6s than we need on a daily basis. The standard American diet, or the SAD diet that most of us eat, or a majority of us eat, I should say, contains high omega-6s. Processed foods contain high omega-6s. So I don't highly recommend taking an omega-6 because you're just adding insult to injury, in my opinion. And now a word from our sponsor. We'll be back in a minute.
We all know that eating healthy is a part of becoming a better person. But if you're finding the organic and non-toxic products too expensive or hard to find, then ThriveMarket.com, the healthy online shopping club, is your solution. Like the Costco meets Whole Foods for everything healthy online, you'll get the best organic and non-GMO brands up to 50% off retail prices, shipped nationally to your door for free within 2 to 3 days. When you become a member, ThriveMarket.com will donate a free membership to a low-income family, teacher, or veteran, so we can all thrive together. You never have to pay full price for healthy food again. Go to thrivemarket.com/therebelhealthcoach to get your free jar of coconut oil and 15% off your first order. This offer is valued at $18 and available for our listeners only on this special link. So here it is again, thrivemarket.com/therebelhealthcoach.
All right, now I'm going to go into a natural sunscreen and some ingredients in it. And like I said, you can choose to make this recipe that will be included in the show notes or not. I've also have links to where to purchase the ingredients for this recipe. And I've also included some skincare lines that are pre-made natural sunscreens that you can purchase. And I've included the links in the show notes for that also. So I'm going to go cover a couple ingredients in this recipe that actually have natural SPF in them. And this is a natural recipe, and it has not been tested by the regulatory organizations for exact SPF. But these ingredients also are considered low SPF and generally quoted at these levels. Almond oil, which has an SPF of around 5. Coconut oil has an SPF of 4 to 6. Zinc oxide has an SPF of 2 to 20, depending on how much is used. Red raspberry seed oil has an SPF between 25 and 50. Carrot seed oil has an SPF between 35 and 40. And shea butter has an SPF of 4 to 6. The final version of this recipe will have a varied sun protective ability depending on the amount of each ingredient used. For a simple version, even just coconut oil and shea butter with a little red raspberry seed oil and carrot seed oil, or even some zinc oxide, will work for moderate exposure. So here's a recipe for homemade sunscreen. 1/2 cup of almond or olive oil, and you can infuse this with herbs if desired. 1/4 cup of coconut oil, which has a natural SPF of 4. 1/4 cup of beeswax. 2 tablespoons of zinc oxide. This is a non-nano version that won't be absorbed into the skin. Be careful not to inhale the powder. You can use a mask if necessary. Up to 1 teaspoon of red raspberry seed oil, up to 1 teaspoon of carrot seed oil, 2 tablespoons of shea butter, and optional, you can add essential oils, a vanilla extract, whatever, just don't use citrus essential oils as they increase sun sensitivity. All right, here's the instructions for putting this all together. Combine your ingredients except the zinc oxide in a pint-sized or large glass jar. I use a quart jar with a sealable lid. Fill a medium saucepan with a couple inches of water and place over medium heat. Put a lid on the jar loosely and place in the pan with water. As the water heats, the ingredients in the jar will start to melt. Shake or stir occasionally while this is happening. When all the ingredients are completely melted, add the zinc oxide, stir in well, and pour into whatever jar or tin you use for storage. Like I said, a small mason jar or quart jar works for this, but it will not pump well in a lotion pump if you have a lotion pump. So I use a small quart jar and just keep it in the refrigerator and take it out as needed. Stir a few times as it cools to make sure the zinc oxide is incorporated, and then store at room temperature. Additional notes. This sunscreen is not waterproof. It will need to be reapplied after sweating or swimming. Make sure not to inhale the zinc oxide once again. Use a mask if necessary. Add more beeswax to make it a thicker sunscreen or less to make smooth sunscreen. I also recommend a coconut or vanilla extract or lavender essential oil for fragrance. Store in a cool, dry place or in the fridge. You can remove the zinc oxide, and this makes an excellent lotion recipe. Now for your pre-made versions. The best brand that I've found is Badger, and they have several great organic non-nano versions. Non-nano means it does not absorb into the skin. They have a sports sunscreen, which is a Badger Organic SPF 35. They have a baby sunscreen, which is a Badger Organic Baby Sunscreen SPF 30. Kids sunscreen, which is Badger Organic Kids Sunscreen Tangerine and Vanilla, which is an SPF of 30. And the best smell option, in my opinion, is a Badger Lavender Sunscreen SPF 30. Also, the links to where to purchase the ingredients for the sunscreen and the links to purchase the pre-made sunscreen by Badger. And these will be in the show notes, like I said. If you like the show, go ahead and leave me a review and download these episodes. I appreciate it very much. And have an outstanding Memorial Day. And by the way, I'm recording this outside today on the patio, getting some vitamin D. Thanks and have a great day.
Thank you for joining in today with the Rebel Health Coach, Tom Underwood. And be sure to subscribe to the show so you can catch all the episodes. With desire and commitment, you can implement a lifestyle of wellness and fitness. For the support, encouragement, and tools you need to be successful, visit tomunderwood.net.